What if transcending our challenges depends upon questioning the true origins of these struggles? So I'm going to share with you here something that I heard many years ago that I've been exploring ever since, that has created so much freedom in my life from the things that I've seen cause men and women to have injuries and not be able to heal them, to have shame and go down what we call the road to hell of thinking they don't deserve to be loved, or they don't deserve to be successful, they don't deserve to have great friends. Like a whole I don't deserve thing happens when we have shame about things that we've done or not done, where we think we've harmed somebody. And we also, everything from connection to chemistry to competition to prejudice to our relationship to our emotions, to our bodies, all these things I assert come from one place. And I'm going to tell you about it tonight, so you can start looking through those eyes. And whether or not you do the course, at least you'll have that to do on your own and start to free yourself up as much as you can. Now, obviously, at the course, we're going to do all kinds of things that we found out in October worked. Oh my gosh, they worked so much better than I thought they would. And we're improving upon how we're doing the logistics and the processes from how we did in October. So I expect it to be even better. I think many of you know that I live out loud, and honesty is truth, and honesty are up there my second highest values. And so that has transparency, right? And so when I did the first freedom from being ordinary, I didn't reveal what I assert is the origin of all these struggles. I didn't reveal it until the morning of the first day. And I didn't reveal it because I had no idea how it would be received. Like, and I was even nervous that morning. What might happen to me as I express this? And which may sound funny since I've been on stage for, more than 30 years, 40 years. But it wasn't about that. It was about the power of this idea, and that you can just reject it outright, or you can explore it. You can feel your way into it. So what I'm about to tell you, I cannot prove. And most of you know I've spent very little time trying to prove that what I've learned is true. I'd rather you worked it out for you, did your own research and implementation and experimentation and customized, right? I just, I'm not engaged in it. Someone said, well, how do you prove that? I'm like, I don't try to prove it. So I rather would like to illuminate, right? Turn the light on and see what scatters. So how do I want to put this? Okay, so I want to put it this way. In order to survive, okay, which instincts, period, the point of instincts is in order to survive. And in order to survive, we have to discern or discriminate. We have to be able to tell the difference between different things. So discrimination and discriminating is part of how our minds work naturally, this or that. And tell you something that'll start to disrupt some things for some of you. This isn't just a human feature, right? My dog discriminates. He discriminates between me and Dan. He discriminates between the different things that are in his dog food bowl. He discriminates between one ball and another ball that he prefers, between one stick and another stick. Even he and his sister can discriminate an exact rock in a field of gravel that all looks the same. They can get the exact one that was thrown. They are that discriminating. So discrimination is something that we do in order to survive. And years ago, and I don't know who said it, or I would credit them for it, someone made the comment years ago that the basis of our immune system is discerning or discriminating me, not me. That is the discrimination that's happening automatically. Me, not me. So in a very simple way, I'm assuming everyone here now or watching later has sneezed. A sneeze is a not me reaction of our immune system. Not me, get it out, eject it, reject it, okay? Autoimmune conditions where our bodies are attacking their own organs and systems, like thyroiditis, for example, where we have antibodies that are attacking our own thyroid glands, that's a confusion. That's a confusion of me and not me, where our body thinks this is not me, and it attacks it. Now, if you can start to just play with it, me, not me. So it's definitely binary, right? Me, not me. And for example, when we meet somebody and we have a me reaction to them, like, oh, they're like me. Oh, me. What that does is creates what we experience as an instant connection. Oh, they're like me. And one of the outcomes of that is a feeling of safety. Oh, they're like me. They're like me. We're connected. I can trust them. Now, it's understandable at the level of instinct to have that reaction, but it's also human beings believe way too much in connection as a source of safety, even as a source of this person is the one, I should marry them. Or even as we have such a strong connection, why didn't they buy from me? So we look for connection, right? Or not connection. Oh, they're me. They're me. They're me. Okay, good. Me. Oh, they're like me. They're from Florida too. They're interested in this too. They have gray hair too. Me. It has consequences. Me is not all good. Me has lots of different kinds of consequences. And we'll explore those in Freedom for Being Ordinary. I have a lot more time. 3 days on purpose. Not me. So one of the things that a lot of people value, and some of you have heard me talk about it, maybe ad nauseum, chemistry, the effects of chemistry. Chemistry is a consequence not of me. Me is safe. Me is familiar. Me is known. Chemistry is a not me reaction. Ooh, mysterious, interesting, different, maybe scary. Jump their bones. Chemistry is a not me response. Thank you, Lisa, for smiling. I appreciate that. It is a not me response. And what's really awesome about when you get this, that how quickly our brain is judging, is discriminating, is prejudging without more evidence, me, not me. When you get it, you can actually cause the reactions you want. You can, in the way that you're listening, how is this person like me? You can cause a me response in yourself and feel more safe and connected and even a sense of belonging anywhere you go. Or how is this person different from me? And women who struggle a lot with chemistry, I encourage them to start asking the question, how is this, like they never feel chemistry towards anyone. Start with the question, how is this man strong? Start with, how is this man strong? Then go to, how is this man stronger than me? So how he's strong, he's strong like me, not interesting. How is he stronger than me? Oh, that starts the chemistry going. How is he stronger than me? And I like it. I want someone who's stronger than me that way. Ooh, this is so much at play in my relationship with Dan. 3 years in, I can completely cause connection or chemistry, whichever one I need at the time. And I can even hold them both in the same space, me and not me. So that's just an example of a couple of things that happen. And in Freedom from Being Ordinary, there will literally be a flip chart that lists about 20 different effects that are caused by me and not me. One of them has to do with this thing, right? So most people call it my body. I'm going to propose, I'll just tell you now, I'm going to propose that we could have a more empowering relationship with these if we took the my out. Because the my body, we have this is my body, which means everything that I think is wrong with it, I'm going to take personally. It's my fault. I should fix it. It's wrong with me. And everything that we think is great about it, we're going to take it personally, like ego. Like, aren't I all that? Not better than other people. Both of these don't actually give us the quality of relationships we want with men or women. And what we end up with is an adversarial relationship to the body that we're inhabiting. It's adversarial. We're against it. We're at war with it. We're pissed off at it. Or we disown it. We don't acknowledge that we actually need it to do all the things that we do as human beings. You can't play here on earth without one of these. So as we explore the impact of me, not me, on things like connection and competition and the outcomes of those, which we compete with our bodies sometimes we don't. It depends. One of the things we distinguish at Freedom from Being Ordinary, we end up being able to get a kind of distance, like this body. And there's an interesting thing that happens when we go from my body, all squished together, to this body. Now there's two. What does that mean? It means we could partner. When there's two of us, when there's a me and there's a this body, there's a possibility that I could partner with this body. I could even make commitments to this body. I could have agreements with this body. And it's just an offering at the course. We don't make you do it. But I suggest that you might want to actually write out a rental or lease agreement with the body that you have located yourself in. And you may even want to make requests about the termination of that rental or lease, because the body's always going to be able to eject you when it decides. But I'd like a sudden ejection, please. I don't want to know what's going to happen. I'd like 3 days warning, please. I'd like a year to clean up my affairs. Please let me know I'm going to be evicted from my habitation. So Kenethia, I don't know if you can come back now. Raise your hand if you can. If not, you'll hear it in the okay, good. Can unmute you. You have to unmute you. Yeah. so all kinds of things happened for people in October in Freedom from Being Ordinary in the application of me, not me, to bodies and to inhabiting bodies, and the angst, frustration, shame, self-consciousness that can arise, and people express things along these lines from, why am I stuck here? This is not me. Having a not me, this is not me. My body would be me if it were. And many of you know this body would be me if it were Black, male, and about 6'5". Big. Then it would be me. This little tiny white lady, what the heck? How did I end up here? Beam me up, Scotty. Let's try again. So yeah, so the space, the depersonalization, body image shifts, body self-consciousness shifts. Can you see it?
Yes. I understand the concept, but the practice is what I need, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I think you're coming. I encourage you to come.
I am definitely planning on it.
Okay, good. Because there's something that happens in the sharing of this thing that seems personal, and then it even seems like a female thing or a male thing, and then even this is a human thing. Okay, this part of being human, and the truth is me, not me, is even more primitive than human. It's more primitive than mammals. The pine tree, the evergreen outside of my window, practices me, not me. And it drops its needles to poison the ground beneath it, so its me's can grow there and all the not me's can't. It has procreate, then protect, then provide. And it exercises me, not me. It's a tree. Viruses and bacteria do the same things. In fact, viruses seem to be geniuses at cloaking themselves in me costumes in order to sneak by the me, not me.
Right.
And yeah, so there's all these things you take personally, and even, I mean, prejudice and discrimination has been so much a part of our social and political conversation for now years, and so many people are hiding prejudice because they're ashamed, because they take it personally, like, oh, I have these thoughts about other people based on the shade of their skin and the shapes of their features. Oh, that must be because my grandfather was a racist. No. Prejudging without finding out more, without getting more information. Prejudging is what me, not me does.
Got it.
And when we can just own it, oh, I looked at you and thought, right? Or this is Kenethia from Kentucky. Some people had a me reaction to your accent, and some people had a not me reaction to your accent, and people already made up shit about who you are. They didn't even have to make it up. Their brain just delivered all the conclusions.
Right. Yeah.
And we don't see it. And if we do see it, we think we did something wrong, instead of, oh, I just had a not me reaction to you. And be able to just share it.
Right.
Just express it and laugh. Have a sense of humor about it all. We laugh a lot at Freedom from Being Ordinary.
Yay. I need that.
We all need that.
Right. So when you get this figured out, you should have more space to do the procreate, creation that that you're supposed to do. Not supposed, but
that you wanted.
designed to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what people reported, and I got a report even today. So what people reported at Freedom from Being Ordinary was that by the second day, it was much quieter in here.
Mm.
It was much quieter, so much more peaceful. A sense of, it was amazing. This sense of community arose. Love and generosity from people who look very different, come from very different places, talk different ways, so much not me, right?
Right.
But it, in recognizing it as just an instinctual response, it stopped being a barrier to seeing people and to being seen. And yeah, people also loved what they expressed was they were really grateful for the exercises that we did to be restored from shame and from injury, and people healed things they had no idea that they could heal. And yeah, yeah, I spoke to one of the people who actually demonstrated in front of the room. I spoke to her a couple of weeks later. The space, just incredible space from that.
Wow. That's awesome.
I spoke to a man today who was talking about the effects of our conversation about anger. And this is another consequence because emotions are something we experience in our bodies, and we have an adversarial relationship to our bodies. Almost everybody does. We tend to have an adversarial relationship to emotions, like these things that are out of control and annoying and cause a lot of trouble. And some people just don't want to hear about them. Some people are keeping a grip on them and won't share them, but you can tell something's happening under there, right? So we end up with an adversarial relationship about emotions, and especially about emotions on what I call the anger spectrum. So so one of the things that we invite people to do is identify their spectrum. Like, what is the whisper? Is that irritation? Is that annoyance? Is that a little just a little twitch that happens? When does it first show up? And then if something doesn't change, it'll escalate, and it'll get bigger and bigger and louder and be more and more distracting and destructive. And the man I was talking to today, I talked to him in December too. He said, I want to share with you about my new friendship with anger. And because I proposed another way of interacting with anger, if we could be in partnership with this, we could be in partnership with the emotions that are generated here. And those emotions are generally in response to threats to our survival and to expectations and to needs that aren't being met. And so today he shared with me that a few days ago, he just had to stop and think because he was having such an experience of life. And he wanted to identify what it was. And he finally figured out what it was. He said, I'm happy. Oh. And he was astonished. I'm happy. And that's he said, awesome. And I can attribute it directly to how I'm relating to anger. And instead of walking around frustrated or aggravated or more, I am acting upon the information that I'm getting, and I'm expressing myself. Yeah, super cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And as you probably know, there are so many studies that tie emotion with disease, right? They're happening in the same part of the body. And I mean, I can't prove it, but I think there's a strong tie between the spectrum of anger and all different kinds of cancer. And I have someone in my family right now who he was diagnosed with colon cancer. And and I love him so much, my nephew, and he's just going after it. He's like, well, I'm just digging up all the shit that I've been stuffing down there my whole life.
Yeah.
I know, I can see it. It just keeps coming out layer after layer after layer.
Mhm.
And, this is a man that most people would think was quite genial and agreeable, right? He's
Mhm.
just stuffing it and stuffing it and stuffing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole area of this thing, and some of you know, I intend to be not only long-lived, but I like the expression, I only know it from Dr. Peter Attia, of our health span, not just our lifespan, but our health span.
Cool.
And, I'm 63 and I'm working on 120. I still have a lot to accomplish. I need this for a while longer. It's doing pretty good, this little white lady's body. There's some people there. I'll tell you guys something really funny. So the woman that I worked with on stage, right, and had this tremendous healing in all this space, the next morning she came to the microphone and she said, I just want to tell you what my ideal woman was saying this morning. And she was saying, this is the whitest shit I have ever heard. And I was cracking up because I'm really a big black man, right? I just laughed. We just laughed and laughed and laughed. It's true from all different sides of the shades. And the male and the female, and I mean, oh my gosh, the prejudices that we have, the conclusions that we have. Me, not me. He's old. He's not me. He's young. He's not me. Right? Like even in women and men deciding who's a candidate to date, what they're searching for in dating apps. It's me, not me stuff. We're looking for things in common, me. Right? We're looking for compatibility, me.
When we think of me and not me, we always see ourselves as at the center of it. So I am my body and the germs are not me. But I'm wondering how you navigate when you are on the receiving end of someone else's not me, where you're in conflict, where you think, yeah, me, and the other person goes, no, not me. You are not me. And because I feel like I'm always on the receiving end of someone else's not me. And that's how I situate myself in it. And so I'm wondering if you have any thoughts around that.
Well, I just will tell you, when you realize that person that was not a thoughtful, reasoned, illuminated discrimination. And most of these aren't. It's not personal. And when you can see somebody having a not me reaction, and it's literally they're being a pine tree right now. They're being a beetle. They're being the squirrel outside my window who keeps lecturing the birds. The possibilities expand in an amazing way. You'll come up with your own way to interact with it, including it just depends on what you want the outcome to have. Do you want them to feel safe and engage in something with you? So you start listening and acknowledging me things. If you don't care and you just want to get away from somebody who thinks like that, you just get away from them. But you literally, when you start seeing this as not personal and not controllable, you can influence it, but you can't control it. When you see it, right? There are people who react to me by my vocabulary, right? They have me and not me reactions by my vocabulary. And then I might stutter, mix up words or something, and I have another reaction. But whether it's happening from you or at you, we interact with both of those. We actually interact with each other. We start telling each other our me and not me reactions. So we can just get it. We can start to be able to stand in ourselves in the face of these things that are so primitive. They're planetary.